recording.
Okay. So, who wants to answer the questions? Let's discuss this order first. Who's answering first?
I think you let's go.
It's going to be all at once, but who wants to talk first? Clockwise?
I think you go first because I'm the talker guy.
Yes.
I got you.
Yeah. I would just like to agree.
So, how has the draw support changed since you got it?
So I would not say that it changed that much. It's close enough. I'll come in there.
It's not even in the frame.
Because you're leaning that way.
Like, what?
My man's gonna have to do a bunch of.
I got a wall.
So I would not say that the draw support has only changed between really using Pokemon abilities since I got into more mainstream supporter cards. We had a lot of Greninja, things like that, which we still have, Kangaskhan and other things, but Iona became more prevalent. Before you only had Judge and Professor's Research. Now you have Iono, Lily's Determination, Professor's Research, and still Judge for a little while. So I think it went from a lot more reliance on your Pokemon's abilities to more supporter cards within the last couple of years.
Entered around EFG block, tail end of EFG. So it was mostly like Rotom and the Bear.
Oh yeah.
That's a great time.
Rotom, you get that your first turn, draw 3 cards, pass the turn, and so you'd almost be starting the game off with like 10 cards in hand, almost 11 cards.
Absolutely. There's other support cards like Luminia, right? Luminia gets you like research.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever you want in terms of support.
Now, what was the best strategy when you started? How would you say something similar would fare now?
For myself or for the grander scheme of the game?
The grander scheme of the game.
Honestly, I think if you go to any TCG, any trading card game, there is pretty much a standard of what decks will do. In that way, they may change. The mechanic, though, is the same, right? You have aggro decks, you have milling decks, you have spread damage decks, you got wall decks, you got, things like that, and they all mean different things. I think in the beginning when I first started, I would say Mew was the biggest deck, and Mew was very aggro in the sense of you were going through your game, you're going through your hands very quickly, moving very quickly. That still stays consistently very good. But if you were to go, okay, right now, what's the best deck of format would be Guardy, which Guardy is more of a spread damage deck than a speed deck. It has balance, and it bounces around between speed and or slowing it down or speeding it up, depending on the supporter cards that it had. But for the most part, it's been mostly a spread damage deck. And what we've seen also with Grimstone and other ones, it seems to be the spread deck is what's growing in popularity, growing in consistency right now. But that's not to say the other ones aren't there. You have Miraidon, Dragapult even. Dragapult spread, but also little aggro. It's a little dependent, but that's what I would say. I'd say it went from more aggro to a little more spread damage at this point in time.
Started out like I wasn't super big into competitive. Was mostly a casual player. And I can't say too much about the meta because I entered at like end of EFG block. So I wasn't around for Worlds. I wasn't around for most of the regionals leading up to that.
Yeah, as a professional player who, got top 1 in like Worlds. Yeah, we got top 1 in like, Worlds. Base winner, Worlds, as well as like, all these other regionals around like Baltimore, New York. I'm just a great player, but like
This is the Wolfie VGC
yeah,
of TCG.
yeah. So I'm like
Wolfie TCG.
the meta now versus the meta before. The meta now is just a bunch of monkey dory plays. Like Steven said, a bunch of spread damage. Versus back then, it's just a bunch of like, start powering it up, start throwing like damage, start hitting. And then currently, I still do the same thing with, Miraidon, Joltik Box. Great stuff. Yeah.
Kind of to go back to that too is because we've played a little bit retro. I have in short term, but the constant through Pokemon in the past has been get big Pokemon and swing big stuff because there was other abilities that helped you out, but for the most part, it was very much hit, attack, whoever can get there faster. That's who's probably going to win.
So, today it's very slowish in my opinion versus back then. Like Mew Max, you're just smacking. You'll be like targeting like your opponent's like
Maxes, yeah.
maxes one, and the game would be over after you kill two of them. Sorry, it's great.
No, knocked out.
We're far off.
Yeah, the YouTube videos don't monetize.
Yeah, we're going to monetize anyway, so we'll be fine. So, and best strategy is currently spread. How do you think that would have worked when you started to get it?
I mean, it still would have worked because, I mean, even that, like, you have GLC, which allows you to use old cards and new cards. And, like, my GLC fire deck is very much reliant on spread damage and pinch damage, and it can be lethal. Yeah, I'll let you speak about the lightning one. I'll give you that. But yeah, I think again, there's core archetypes to trading card games, and so those will always work no matter what. There's innovation within those things, but they still have the core of that. So they'll always work as long as you stick to those things. Only time it doesn't is if you just have a junk deck of junk.
I'd say like in the Sword and Shield era, it was largely not spread, just because of the nature of these having as many hit points as they do. So spread damage didn't. You, the current spread damage, like most you can do, is like 110 to like
It's 180 with Cinderace EX.
that's not spread. That's more snipe.
Yeah.
Kirem is probably one of the best spreaders in the game.
Yeah.
There's just no one's playing Colress cards because that's how much of a threat it is. So Kirem was doing a little bit of work while there were still V cards in the game, especially in the Reggie Drago deck. But Reggie Drago was going into Charizard. It was going into Gardevoirs and taking big knockouts, just wiping boards. So I don't think it had to. You had to have smaller options, smaller targets open up for spread to be a viable deck. As mentioned earlier, but games where there are smaller opponents, such as GLC-A, more controlled formats, an expanded format where you don't have those big basic Pokemon. Spread damage can take 6 prize cards in one turn, as with my Lightning deck, which utilizes the Electivire from. I use the Electivire from Stellar Crown, not Stellar Crown, Crown Zenith. That does 50 to every Pokemon on your opponent's field, which very, very devastating. Yep.
Oh.
And again, the thing about it a little more too is that it also depends on what else is good at the time. Like Connor had said, is that at some point Reggie Drago was great because the decks that it was going against were not strong. Like we're not compatible against it. But right now we're in a good meta where everything can kind of beat everything depending on your skill level and how fast you play. Where in other times during Pokemon it wasn't as well balanced as it is today. Where most professional players would say today, we are very well balanced, and the card game is in a good place right now.
Theoretically, any card could be part of a tournament-winning deck. Kind of moving into the next question, it does seem like the pace of the game is shifting back towards like big attacks as opposed to spread damage, with the introduction of Mega Pokemon, which are 3-prizers.
Then for this one, since what I'm doing is based off the Charizard, since it's been around since Generation 1 and has had a card in every generation of the card game, how has the Charizard cards from when you joined changed to now?
Well, Look, I haven't been. I mean, I played when the game first came out. I played as a kid and didn't play probably correctly, but I played. Um, but just like the video game, everything is power creeps, and what they do is they add pieces to that Pokemon. So we've already brought up V Maxes, you had V Stars, you had Gigantamaxes, you had EXs, GXs, little EXs, break cards, all different kinds of cards that allowed you to. And on top of that, they just make certain cards stronger, knowing what's going on. Before, if you had a stage 2 Pokemon, they're still probably only sitting at 120 HP, versus now most stage 2 Pokemon, even in their even in a non crazy form like a EX or anything like that, you're still looking at like 150 to 160. So you have this little bit of creep there, and then it really just depends on if they want to use that for the format. Charizards have consistently stayed good because people are going to buy Charizards. They continually stay cool because people are going to buy cool Charizards, and Pokemon wants to make money. So they have continually stayed good. But I would also say when the Charizard from what's it called
It's
Obsidian Flame came out,
yeah,
the big one now, the best one right now.
yeah.
People were saying before that there hadn't been a good Charizard card in a long time. So so there was a break in there. I wasn't part of that. I came in just as that card was starting to really pick up steam. I was really getting competitive. So before that I couldn't speak on it. But I know back in the day everybody wanted a Charizard. So
The F block was once a game you were doing 320 damage. That was its V Star ability. You can deal 320 damage, and then you had to discard 2 energy from that Pokemon. It was a 4 from the Obsidian Flames Charizard. That Charizard not only powered itself up, uh, but for only 2 energy, you could deal at the latest of the game 330 damage. If your opponent had taken 5 cross cards. The most recent cards we've gotten are Mega Charizard EX, the X version, which for 2 energy can do 90 damage per energy discarded from I believe it might be your board, it could be your
Yeah,
bench.
it's your whole.
It's your whole board. So theoretically, the maximum you can do in that is thousands.
Yeah.
50 is.
But for for 4 discarded energy, you're dealing 360 damage, which it also got a card with it, which allows you to freely attach energy to Rain Dance for Fire, energy to your bench.
Yeah, so I did play during Rolling Stars in that era. Charizard really didn't get any play because it was just hard to power up. There's like no supporters. There's nothing really in terms of like good play with the Charizard. But there were people who did play the deck and did well with the deck because they somehow made it work with whatever they had. But powering up the Czar, like even the VMAX Czar was just hard to power up. But all Czars, most Czars that I've seen always like to hit like hard. Like even the current meta or like the Mega Charizard X, that's been a lot of damage just for 5 damage. Or even like the
The next question is: does the Pokemon Company favor new over the old Pokemon wise? Like when it is printing cards per set, do you think they are going to favor like Generation 9 over Gen 4?
yeah, I mean you can see that because of the consistency. I got you, buddy. You can see that it's consistency. Promote certain Pokemon. They know the money making Pokemon. They're gonna keep those Pokemon. So you can see with the video games you had fire, you had red and blue, then you had fire, red, and leaf green, and then you had let's go Eevee, let's go Pikachu. And there's always fallbacks to the originals because people love nostalgia, so they always go back. And so there is favorites within that. That's why Charizard's on everything, Pikachu's on everything, Eevee's on everything, Gengar's on everything, because that is where they're making money. And so consistently, they're going to choose their old over their new. And also, the people do that too. people are always confused. Everybody hated it until after a little while. The new Pokemon, no one really likes the new Pokemon. They are starting to, but anything from Scarlet and Violet, they're like, it's cool. Chenpal's cool.
I think it's a combination of like recency bias and then like fan favorites. Just looking at like my collection, there's a whole bunch of like illustration rares, higher rarity cards for all of the new Pokemon. And then there's also a ton for the old Pokemon. I'd say that we've had 3 or so sets within Scarlet and Violet dedicated to like Gen 1 or so Pokemon. 3 or 4. I can think of Obsidian Flames 151, Stellar Surging Sparks, and Prismatic Evolutions. Each of those.
Set, but like combine them together, they count as one.
Even then, I'd say like that's Charizard, Pikachu, Eevee, and then all of Kanto. In a block that was called Scarlet and Violet, where Kanto did not appear. So I think it's definitely a combination of like the most recent and the most old is where they're focused.
I agree with you. They do favor usually. Like currently, even like right now, like this whole Pokemon boom, I do feel like they're just pushing back to like all the nostalgia, all the stuff like what even like Steve said, Charizard, all those things. It's like it's also getting me too because like I'm seeing Mega Gengar, I'm just like, oh wow, that's cool, and then I'm just like, alright, time to invest in this set, and then I start gambling, and then I just start getting angry when I don't get the card I want.
That's what happens when you game. That's a simple.
Oh dang.
How
That's a loaded question because right now it's going too slow. That people are playing too slow. Knowledge of their opponent's cards. But I'm gonna say right now because there's so many things to do at you are benefiting with something particular turns to make it done. But the problem is that it's taking longer. So now there is a problem in the Pokemon community, competitive wise, where they're trying to instill rules because people are complaining about deck checks and things like that to make sure they have the best chance. Which, when you're trying to go for hundreds of thousands of dollars, then you're going to put your best foot forward. So you're going to take your time. You're going to slow down. So the game has slowed down, but because the stakes have gotten higher, the game itself is probably similar than it always has. It's just the person is taking a little longer because they want to win.
Charizard Pidgeot. Turn 1, your opponent got down Charmander, Pidgey, Rotom, and drew their 3 cards. On turn 2, they had their Pidgeot, their Charizard, and they had maybe used their V-Star Rotom to their V-Power Rotom to drink any card from their deck to be able to tap, or they just have it in their back pocket. So by turn 2, when I started, your board was set up against you. I'd say like today with like Dragapult or something, you're more likely getting set up by turn 3 or 4. And I'd say that even with your Mega Absols, your Archaladon, you're probably keeping pace with around like turn 3, turn 4. And I think that's doing part 2 good, which was 8. pump the brakes on the whole game.
So to me, like the meta was very slow, or the meta currently is slow. Before the what's it called? You have UV Max. UV Max is very fast paced. You have Genesect to draw your cards that you needed, and you had so many ways on your second turn, like Hunter said, that you could just start swinging and get two prizes off the bat. You had like that deck was just so good, but it was also brain dead. Yeah, yeah.
Those are all the questions I have for you. Connor, please.
Sorry.